Hi, welcome to Connecting the Dots with Cyril. Saturday, as I said, we've been at this a week now with the mask, the social distancing. A lot of information has been going on over the last week about reopening the government, not reopening the government, reopening the government in May, not reopening the government in May. I just a lot's going on, and I'm here to help you sort of slow it down, put it in layman's terms, and let's like connect some dots and make it make sense. So I told you we was going to be talking today about the RNA, the DNA to RNA issue that we found out is going on with COVID-19. And one of the first things I want to talk about is it a man-made virus? And so what they're saying from the Scripps Research Laboratory, and I've been following Scripps for years, so I sort of believe in what they say and I believe in their research. And they're saying, no, this wasn't man-made. I know they're talking about the doctor, the professor they found up in Massachusetts out of Harvard, who was working with Wuhan on something, but they're saying this wasn't that type of thing. And so right now, they're saying that COVID-19 isn't a man-made virus. It's really a natural virus from natural selection, which is good and bad all at the same time, because one of the things we know about nature is it always creates something, and the other thing we know about man-made is that if it's man-made, we normally might have a quicker cure to it, so that changes the whole complexion of this. But I want to talk about this one thing that's been going on that is really a little, not just disturbing, but sort of understandable. So we heard that, we know that COVID-19 came from animals, and it jumped from animals to a man. It jumped from animals to a human. So it jumped from RNA to DNA, right? And we all know, if you don't know, that all humans have some type of RNA in their transcription code at the chromosome level, but it's not the same as the animal's RNA. So what happens is it jumps, it gets to man, it begins to try to transcribe and recreate itself in our DNA along the lines of the already existing RNA code in all humans. So what typically happens in this instance is it's able to replicate. It's called transcription. And transcription just simply means it's able to replicate itself just like any other virus or flu or cancer can do. All germs, all bugs get inside of us and they replicate. That's what they do. But one of the unique features of COVID-19 and its transcription model is it can find the weaknesses in its own transcription and then cancel that one out so that the next one is stronger and more perfect. That's a different beast. That's a scarier piece of any transcription, is when it can find flaws in itself, remove that flaw, and then create a more perfect transcription of itself. So that's different. The other thing is, I didn't know this until I heard the story that everybody else heard, that a tiger in New York, in the Bronx, came down with COVID-19 through the interactions of one of the zookeepers, one of his handlers, the zookeepers. And when a question was asked on Channel 11 News during one of their hour-long sessions on the coronavirus, the reporter asked that question to the scientist. He said, so if that's possible, how long did we know it was possible? And the scientist said they pretty much got information from Wuhan in December that animal had gotten infected from a human. So COVID back in December was known to jump from animal to human and then back to animal. That's a different beast. So again, I keep trying to just connecting dots and enlighten you. So that is a little different beast. So I started doing some research trying to find out, is that a normal occurrence? And from everything I've read and from everything I'm understanding, you can go in and look at it yourself. Put it in your browser, man. Stop using your phone for just entertainment. Use your phone because it's a computer. Use it for the most basic thing. All information needs to be checked out, and that's what they're talking about fact checking. Don't just listen to what I'm saying. Fact check what I'm saying. Find out what I'm saying. So they say no, it's not a real natural process for RNA to go to a DNA to then transcribe itself back to an RNA. That's a different beast. That's something that's a little unnatural in the scheme of how we do things and how we understand stuff. So that takes some looking at. That takes some understanding. And again, connecting dots, man. Just looking at this thing from what it is. Do I really foresee us being at some level of government opening by May? No. No, I don't. We don't have a handle on this thing. We don't have a handle on COVID-19. We're like in the ice ages of trying to understand the modus operandi of how this operates. We know that it goes this way. And so I just read something today, right? I put it on my Facebook page. Check this out. So they're saying that now people who jog and who run should run 32 feet apart because the sweat that comes off of them, the aspiration as they sweat, the perspiration that comes off of them travels with COVID on it. Wow. I already sort of knew that, but I mean, just for them to say it, I like what's going on now in the news. I like that they're beginning to, because see, for them to have information and us, the public, not to have it, is almost suicidal. And it's really not even suicidal, it's homicidal. Because why would you hold information that could protect us from our own, we'll follow these. We'll do stuff to sort of, because we'll do stuff out of ignorance if you don't make us aware of it, right? So, yeah, we'll run together, we'll jog together. We're used to doing that. But now we know that jogging together, we should have 32 feet just because of the perspiration problem of what's going on. Wow. Okay, game changers. I'm just telling you, these are game changers. These are things we need to know. So here we go. So the wastewater in Massachusetts, they checked it to see how much COVID-19 was actually being eliminated from human waste, that's urines and feces, into the wastewater system to get a handle on this. Because in Massachusetts, at that time, they thought they only had 449 cases of COVID registered according to the hospital. According to the amount of COVID-19 in the wastewater indicated that it had to be at least 2,300 people who were actively having COVID. Now that doesn't mean whether they were asymptomatic, pre-symptomatic, right? It's just that the amount of wastewater, right? The amount of excretion from human bodies into the wastewater system in Massachusetts indicated that the numbers of cases was false. That the numbers of cases of 449 people being infected with COVID-19 was false. Because according to the wastewater, the numbers was higher and more like 2,300 than 499. And the reason I can say that I believe that, that I can sort of go with that, is because we are not accounting for the people that the hospitals are telling or the doctors are telling not to go to the hospital. They're saying you're not exhibiting all of these symptoms. You don't have all of the right symptoms that will make you have to go to the hospital. How do I know that? Because I was one of the people early on in early March when I started getting sick, and I called my doctor, and they were like, well, you got some of the symptoms, not all the symptoms. You got this, and you don't have that. But if you were to develop this, please come on in and give us a call back. So when I called back and said, listen, I'm developing some symptoms, he said, well, you still don't have this, so don't come in. So pretty much I stayed in the house. They gave me an abundance of amoxicillin. They gave me 3,000 milligrams of amoxicillin. And probably was better for me not to go to the hospital, because at that time in early March, they had no idea what was going on. They weren't even aware of all the symptoms of COVID. So thank God I didn't go, or I probably wouldn't be here now connecting dots with you. So a lot of us who were ill got sick at home. We don't even know we had COVID because nobody was testing us, because there wasn't any tests. First of all, there wasn't enough tests in America to test us. So a lot of us, just got well at home, as well as we can get. Remember my thing yesterday about the recovered. So we just recovered. We're not well, we're not cured. We don't even know how we recovered. We just got better, as better as we can. So here's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of things going on. But the most important thing to understand for this segment is the disease is not man-made, right? So it's not like some mad scientist went into a laboratory and made this. This is one of those natural, as I told y'all before, one of those natural evolutionary things that happens all through mankind. If you read history books, you will see stories about this all the time, where things jump from animals to men and kills off a whole bunch of men. Then we get a handle on it and it goes on. Or, there are times in history where it just goes away. Not cured. Just goes away, which means it can resurface. The same way we just heard that, it's starting to resurface again in the recovered patients in different places. So that's another thing. So, but the thing we're talking about today is the RNA. It came from animal, and animals have RNA, to our DNA. It adapted itself to our DNA, and then it was able to transcribe to the RNA that's in our own bodies, because we all have it, and then infect or go back to RNA, which infects animals. So we need to know those things. We need to understand this. We need to know what we're up against when we're making decisions about reopening jobs, reopening the country, going back to restaurants, going back to the movie theaters, we need to be able to make real clear, and I'm going to say this to you. These aren't government decisions that you have to make. These are personal decisions you have to make. These are decisions about how am I going to live my life and affect other people around me. That's the issue that I'm having with people having parties, with people having card parties, with people still hanging out on the corners, with people, and I'm talking to my people, because we had this conversation the other day about why the effects of it in African American and people in minority communities. I'm watching people pass cigarettes back and forth as they're walking past my house. I'm watching people share drinks as they're walking back and forth past my house. I'm watching people do that while they got the mask up on their forehead or the mask on their neck. So it just, and I think it's because there's so much misinformation about COVID-19 that it's almost scary to try to get some clarity on what's going on. It's scary. So not unheard of, but a little unnatural for the RNA to DNA to RNA. Which tells me that we need to get a handle on this. Now, I am sort of happy and optimistic because they're able to chase the particles of COVID-19, so they do have some understanding of what it looks like, under a microscope, and so they're able to see how many parts should be in the water based on this. So that's a good piece, and we need that piece. And science is coming online, but they're coming online, and there's all this broken. The system is broken. To try to understand this thing, to try to get some antibodies for it, to try to build a vaccine for it, to try to do anything, because it's coming at it from so many haphazard standards that us as lay people, regular Americans, don't really understand what we're up against. And so we're sort of still running around doing a whole bunch of things. I was so grateful to see them begin to tell the people at the stores to wear masks and gloves. That's necessary. I had friends who working in nursing homes, and the nursing homes were telling them not to wear masks because it was scared of patients. What ludicrous that is! It doesn't make any sense. So this big explosion of COVID cases in nursing homes, to me, wasn't unexpected. And that again comes from this misinformation. So we're getting information from this place, and then a big dearth of information, a whole missing section of what we should do. And so as Americans and as people, we tend to do what we always do. If I'm a drinker, I just drink. If I smoke weed, I'm going to smoke weed. If I shoot heroin, I'm going to do heroin. I'm going to do, because if no one's sort of helping me, guide me in this process, I'm going to do what I always do as a basic human being, and I'm also going to do it from a place of fear. Because it's a human element, I'm a vixenologist, I wear my psychology hat, applied psychology. When I'm in my most level of fear, I revert back to what I normally do. So I say this to you. So they say the ostrich. I love watching natural stations and stations about animals. So they said that the ostrich when it can normally run, 30, 40 miles an hour, right? Pretty much, and it can sustain it for at least a mile before it gets tired and have to start breaking down. And we know that the lion, the tigers, they can't do that for that long. They can't. They run real out because they're heavy. They breathe. They run a real out. They can run a minute, 2 minutes tops, 10 minutes at the most, and then they flat out and gone. So the ostrich normally can outrun the tiger lions in any situation in the jungle. But there's a flaw in the reactions of the ostrich. At the height of its running, at the height of its fear, it will stop running, put its head in the ground, and shake its tail feathers like it's a bush. And when it does that, the tiger, the lion, the jaguar, whatever's chasing it, tears the fur off of it, eats it whole, and goes on about having a meal. Now here's where it gets tricky. There's other ostriches watching this. There's other ostriches that watch this ostrich stop, try that tactic, and get eaten. But at the height of its fear, it does the same thing. It's built in. It's wired into them. They do the same thing, and then that ostrich gets eaten. And then the next ostrich who's running does the same thing. Stop, put his head in the ground, put his tail in the air, wave his feathers like it's a bush, and then it gets eaten. So this mentality that we're watching in humans in America and all over the world is when you're in fear and you don't know what to do, no one's telling you, no one's providing you with clear, concise information, then you'll do what you always do when you're afraid. You'll drink, you'll get high, you'll have sex, you'll do all kinds of things that at this height of this pandemic, which are almost suicidal, but you'll do them anyway because that's what we do when we have fear. Wow, connecting the dots. So we got to see it's RNA to DNA to RNA, and then we got to manage our own fears from a lack of knowledge of what's going on. Hey, man, all I like to tell you is you was just connecting the dots with Cyril, right? If you like what you're hearing, you want to hear more of this, like me on YouTube, subscribe to the page, because I'm going to be putting these out, right? And I had a situation today, somebody wanted to, came to me, they said, listen, we like your page, we like what you're doing, we're like to advertise with you and let you sell our advertisements and make some money while you're doing this. And I thought about that, right? And I said to myself, this is too important to try to make money. Because I'm connecting dots to save lives. So if I was to connect dots to make money, I just defeated the whole purpose of what I'm doing. So check this out. This is going to be ad-free right now because I can't afford to clutter it up and have you stop watching because you think Max is trying to make some money. I am not going to make no money off of this, right? I'm just going to keep connecting dots so that I can save a life. And if you get the information, you understand what I'm saying, please pass this information on. If you get the information, you understand what I'm saying, copy me and put it in a text message and send it to everybody in your phone. Because the more people get real information, that's the more chances that we can decrease what's going on. Hey, connecting the dots with Cyril. This is Saturday's show. See you. Catch me over on YouTube.